Over the next week, Patrick tried desperately to find someone, anyone, who would agree to be his surrogate. He started with his ex-girlfriends. There were 3 of them, women he'd dated seriously over the past few years. Surely one of them would understand, would want to help. The first one, Kioma, laughed when he explained the situation. Actually laughed. Patrick, are you serious? You want me to carry your baby and then just give it to you? Like I'm some kind of baby factory? Number, absolutely not. Good luck with the cancer, though. The second one, Ngozi, at least pretended to be sympathetic. Oh, Patrick, that's terrible about the cancer. I'm so sorry, but I just started a new job, and I'm trying to get fit, and pregnancy would ruin my body. Have you tried those surrogacy agencies? They have women who do this professionally. The third one didn't even let him finish explaining. Whatever it is, the answer is no. We broke up for a reason. Don't call me again. Then he called Amanda, his current girlfriend, well, sort of current. They'd been dating for 3 years. He'd been planning to propose. Surely she would understand. Surely she would help him. Amanda, he said when she answered, his voice hopeful, I need to talk to you about something important. What is it, baby? She sounded distracted, like she was watching TV or scrolling through her phone. Patrick took a deep breath. I went to the hospital last week. For those tests I told you about, the ones for the symptoms I've been having. They found something. That got her attention. Found what? I have prostate cancer, stage 1. There was a long pause, then, oh my God, but it's okay, Patrick rushed on. They caught it early. The treatment has a high success rate, chemotherapy and surgery. The doctor says if we act quickly, I should be fine. I just need to. So you're dying? Amanda's voice had gone shrill with panic. What? No, I'm not dying. It's stage 1. They caught it early. I'll be fine. But the treatment might affect my fertility, so the doctor suggested, Wait. Amanda cut him off. You're telling me you have cancer? Cancer that might make you, what, unable to have kids? Yes, but Patrick. Her voice had changed now, gone cold, distant. I can't do this. Patrick's heart sank. Can't do what? This, cancer, sick boyfriends, medical bills, uncertainty. I'm 28 years old. I want to get married, have kids, build a life. I can't do that with someone who's sick, someone who might die. I'm not going to die. Patrick's voice cracked. Amanda, please. I need you right now. I'm sorry, Patrick, I really am. But I have to think about my future, my life. I hope the treatment goes well. I really do. But I can't be with you anymore. I can't. And then she hung up. Just like that. 3 years of relationship ended with a phone call because he'd gotten sick. Patrick sat in his car in the hospital parking lot and cried. Actually cried. Big, ugly, shoulder-shaking sobs that he hadn't cried since his father died. This was it. This was rock bottom. He had cancer, no girlfriend, no family nearby. His mother lived in London, his siblings scattered across different countries, and a ticking clock on his fertility. After he cried himself out, Patrick dried his eyes and did what any desperate man would do. He contacted surrogacy agencies. Within 2 days, he had a folder full of profiles, professional surrogates, women who did this for a living, women with experience, medical records, references. He sat in his study, flipping through profile after profile, and found fault with every single one. This one's teeth aren't aligned properly, he muttered, studying a photo. If the baby inherits that, these eyes are too small. Or wait, too big. I can't tell. This one's skin is too dark. No, wait, that's not the problem. The problem is I don't know, something's off. Too short, the baby would be short. I want tall children. Too skinny, too lanky, looks unhealthy. This one's nose is, no, that's mean, but also accurate. His friend Daniel, who had come over to provide moral support, finally threw up his hands in frustration. Guy, what exactly are you looking for? You've rejected 20 profiles. 20! These are all perfectly fine women. Professional surrogates. What's the problem? Patrick stared at the profiles spread across his desk and realized he didn't know. None of them felt right. None of them made him think, yes, this is the woman who should carry my child. They were all too professional, too clinical, too much like a business transaction, and not enough like, and that's when it hit him, like a lightning bolt from heaven, like a message from God, like the universe finally taking pity on him. The crazy woman from the hospital, Veronica, the fierce, terrifying, absolutely insane woman who had grabbed his shirt and called him a ritualist, the widow working 2 jobs to raise triplets, the woman whose children had tried to scam him with such brilliant, creative audacity that he couldn't help but be impressed. Patrick sat up straight, his mind suddenly racing. She was perfect. She was actually perfect. Think about it. She was beautiful, stunningly beautiful, even when she was angry and disheveled. She was clearly intelligent. You don't raise 3 brilliant children like that without being smart yourself. She had experience with pregnancy and childbirth. She'd successfully carried and delivered triplets, which was actually impressive from a medical standpoint. She was fierce and protective and strong. And those children, dear God, those children, they were smart, they were creative, they were resourceful, they were hilarious. Yes, they'd tried to scam him, but they'd done it out of love for their mother. That showed character. That showed loyalty. If his child inherited even a fraction of those genetics, they'd be unstoppable. Plus, and this was the practical part, she clearly needed money desperately. Her children had literally tried to stage a car accident to get money for rent. She was struggling. He could help her while she helped him. It was perfect. Win-win. I know who I want, Patrick announced suddenly. Daniel looked up from his phone. What? Who? That woman from the hospital. The crazy one who tried to attack me. Daniel stared at him like he'd lost his mind. The woman who grabbed your shirt? The one who called you a ritualist? The one whose children tried to scam you? That woman? Yes. Patrick. Daniel set down his phone and looked at his friend with genuine concern. Guy, I think the cancer medication is affecting your brain. That woman is insane. She's not insane. She's desperate. There's a difference. She attacked you because she thought I'd hurt her child. That's not insane. That's maternal instinct. That's fierce love. That's exactly the kind of mother I want for my child. But she's crazy, Daniel insisted. She called you names. Her children are brilliant, Patrick continued, ignoring Daniel's protests. Did you see how they coordinated that whole scam? They used legal terminology. They negotiated. They're 7 and they almost pulled it off. That's genetics I want for my child. Intelligence, creativity, resourcefulness. They tried to defraud you. Out of love for their mother, Patrick pointed out. They saw she was struggling and tried to help. That shows character. That shows loyalty. Those are good kids who did something stupid for a good reason. I respect that. Daniel put his head in his hands. You're serious. You're actually serious about this. Completely serious. Patrick, this is a terrible idea. Just pick one of these nice professional surrogates. Women who won't attack you. Women who won't call you names. Women who aren't crazy. But Patrick's mind was made up. His heart was set. Something in his gut told him this was right. This was the answer. Think about it, Patrick said, warming to his argument. Even if I find a professional surrogate, and she gives me the baby, what then? I'm a single man. I've never changed a diaper in my life. I don't know how to take care of a newborn. I can't breastfeed. I'd have to hire a nanny, and then what? My child grows up being raised by hired help. That's not what I want. So what are you suggesting? Veronica already has experience raising children, 3 children. She's clearly good at it. They're smart, well-spoken, well-behaved, mostly. If she carries my baby and we arrange for the baby to stay with her, at least initially, then my child gets a real mother, a real family. Those triplets would be like siblings. The baby would have a home, not just a house with a nanny. Daniel shook his head slowly. And what about you? Where do you fit in this fantasy? I'd be involved, very involved. I'd support them financially, obviously. I'd visit. I'd be part of the child's life. Maybe eventually. Patrick trailed off, not quite ready to voice the thought that was forming. The thought that maybe, just maybe, this could become something more than a business arrangement. You're catching feelings for a woman who attacked you, Daniel said flatly. A woman you met one time. A woman who called you impotent. That word landed like a punch. Patrick flinched. She didn't know, he said quietly. She was angry. She thought I'd hurt her child. People say things they don't mean when they're emotional. Patrick, my mind is made up, Daniel. I'm going to find her. I'm going to make her an offer, and I think she's going to say yes. And if she says no, then I'll figure something else out. But I have to try. I have to at least try. Daniel sighed heavily, recognizing the stubborn onset of Patrick's jaw. When Patrick made up his mind about something, there was no changing it. Fine, Daniel said. But when this all goes terribly wrong, and it will go terribly wrong, I'm going to say I told you so. So many times you'll want to change your phone number. Patrick grinned. Deal. The next evening, Patrick drove back to the junction. His heart was pounding. His palms were sweating. He felt like a teenager about to ask out his crush, which was ridiculous. This was a business proposal, a transaction, nothing more. He ignored the little voice in his head that whispered liar. He parked his car and walked around, asking vendors about the woman who sells fruits, the one with the triplets. Oh, Mama, triplets, one trader said, pointing. Her stand is right over there. Patrick walked toward the fruit stand, his speech prepared in his head. He'd practiced it all day. Professional, straightforward, businesslike. And then he saw her. Veronica was arranging oranges in a pyramid display, her back to him. She was wearing a simple dress, her hair tied back in a no-nonsense ponytail. She looked tired but determined, her movements efficient and practiced. Patrick cleared his throat. Good evening. Veronica turned around with a professional smile already on her face, the smile vendors use for potential customers. Good evening, sir. Welcome. What would you... She froze when she saw who it was. For a long moment, they just stared at each other. The man she'd attacked, the woman who'd called him a ritualist, the incredibly awkward hospital encounter hanging in the air between them like a ghost. Then Veronica's face cycled through several expressions in rapid succession. Surprise, recognition, embarrassment, guilt, and finally settling on defensive wariness. It's you, she said, her voice wary. What are you doing here? I'm not here to cause trouble, Patrick said quickly, holding up his hands in a peace gesture. I promise I'm not here to demand an apology or press charges or anything like that. I'm here because I have a business proposal for you. Veronica's eyes narrowed suspiciously. Business proposal? What kind of business proposal? Can we... Patrick looked around at the busy junction, at the other vendors who were definitely close enough to overhear their conversation. Can we go somewhere private to talk? It's sensitive. Private. Veronica crossed her arms. So you can kidnap me? So you can get revenge for what happened at the hospital? I don't have money for ransom, if that's what you're thinking. I'm not going to kidnap you, Patrick nearly shouted, then lowered his voice when people started staring. I'm not a kidnapper. I'm a businessman. I just want to talk. Somewhere quiet. Your car, Veronica suggested sarcastically. No, not my car. That's weird. What about... Patrick looked around desperately. What about there? He pointed to a small restaurant across the street. Public place. Lots of witnesses. Completely safe. Veronica considered this. On one hand, this man had every right to be angry with her. She'd attacked him, accused him of terrible things, called him names. Maybe he wanted revenge. On the other hand, a business proposal? What kind of business proposal? And more importantly, she was curious. Dangerously curious. Fine, she said finally, but I'm bringing my phone. And if you try anything, I'm screaming and calling the police. Fair enough. They walked to the restaurant in awkward silence, ordered drinks, orange juice for both of them, which Patrick found slightly ironic given that she sold oranges, sat across from each other in a booth that suddenly felt too small. Patrick took a deep breath. This was it. Time to make his pitch. I have cancer, he said bluntly. Whatever Veronica had been expecting, it wasn't that. Her face immediately softened, her defensive posture melting into genuine sympathy. Oh, she said quietly. I'm so sorry. What kind? Prostate cancer? Stage 1? Same kind my father had. Same kind... He paused significantly. Same kind your husband had. Veronica's hand flew to her chest. Oh God, are you going to be okay? Yes, Patrick said firmly. They caught it early. The treatment should work, but... He hesitated, then plunged forward. The treatment will likely make me infertile. I'll lose my ability to have children naturally. So the doctor said I need to act quickly, find a surrogate, have a child before I start treatment. Okay, Veronica said slowly, not yet understanding where this was going. And what does that have to do with me? Patrick met her eyes. I want you to be my surrogate. Silence, long, heavy silence. Veronica blinked once, twice, 3 times. I'm sorry, she finally said, her voice very small. I think I misheard you. What did you just say? I want you to carry my baby, Patrick repeated. To be my surrogate, and before you refuse, please hear me out. Are you insane? Veronica's voice went up several octaves. You want me, the woman who attacked you, who called you a ritualist, whose children tried to scam you? You want me to have your baby? What kind of... Please, Patrick interrupted. Just listen. Just hear my proposal. Then if you want to say no, you can say no. But please, just listen. Veronica closed her mouth, her expression caught between disbelief and curiosity. Patrick launched into his pitch, the one he'd been practicing all day. Look, I know this seems crazy. I know we didn't meet under the best circumstances. But hear me out. I've been trying to find a surrogate for weeks now. I've gone through dozens of profiles from agencies, professional surrogates, and none of them felt right. And I feel right? Veronica asked incredulously. The woman who called you impotent. And I feel right? Veronica asked incredulously. The woman who called you impotent? Patrick flinched slightly at that word, but pushed on. Yes, because you're not just a baby-making machine. You're a mother, an experienced mother. You've successfully carried and delivered triplets, which is medically impressive. You clearly know how to raise children. Your 3 are brilliant, smart, creative, resourceful. They tried to scam you, Veronica pointed out. Out of love for you, Patrick countered. They saw you struggling and wanted to help. That shows character. That shows the kind of values you've instilled in them. Those are genetics I want for my child. Veronica was speechless. And, Patrick continued, gaining momentum now, I heard from the trader at the hospital, Auntie Bimpy, I think her name was, that you're struggling financially. Your children mentioned something about rent being due. about you working 2 jobs, barely making ends meet. Veronica's face flushed with embarrassment. That's none of your business. I know, you're right, but I can help. I'm offering to help. I'll pay you 10 million naira up front. Veronica choked on her orange juice. 10 million? Did you just say 10 million naira? Yes, 10 million up front, plus all medical expenses, plus a new apartment for you and your children, a good apartment in a safe neighborhood. Plus I'll cover your children's school fees for the next year. Plus I'll help you start a proper business, expand your fruit selling into something bigger. And when the baby's born, I'll pay you another 5 million. Veronica's mind was spinning. 15 million naira total. 15 million. That was more money than she'd see in 5 years of working both her jobs. That was life-changing money. That was never worry about rent again money. That was send my children to good schools money. That was actually build a real business money. Why? She whispered. Why would you offer me so much? Because you need it, Patrick said simply, and because I need you. This isn't charity. It's a business transaction that benefits both of us. You get financial security. I get a child. Win-win. But Veronica struggled to wrap her head around this. But why me? Specifically me. There are professional surrogates who would do this for half that price. Patrick leaned forward, his expression earnest. Because I don't want my child to be a transaction. I don't want to hire some stranger, get the baby, and then raise them with nannies and hired help. I want my child to have a real family. And your family, chaotic and dramatic as it is, you're a real family. You love each other fiercely. The triplets would be like siblings to my baby. You'd be a real mother, not just a surrogate. But I'd have to give you the baby, Veronica said, her voice breaking slightly. I'd have to carry a child for 9 months and then just hand it over, like a package, like it meant nothing. No, Patrick said quietly. That's the thing. I don't want you to just hand it over. I want the baby to stay with you, at least for the first few years, until they're old enough that I can. He trailed off, not quite sure how to finish that sentence. Veronica stared at him. You want the baby to stay with me? But then what's the point? You're paying me to carry your baby just so I can keep it. I want to be involved, Patrick said quickly. Very involved. I'll visit regularly. I'll be part of the child's life. I'll support you financially. But I can't take care of a newborn by myself. I don't know how. And I want my child to have what did you have? That fierce love, that real family feeling. Does that make sense? It didn't make sense. It made no sense at all. This was the weirdest arrangement Veronica had ever heard of. And yet, it's not about the money, Patrick added quietly. I mean, I'm offering good money because I can afford it and because you need it, but it's not just about money. It's about giving my child a real chance, a real family, a real home. Veronica sat there, her mind racing. 15 million naira, a new apartment, school fees paid, a real business, financial security for her and her children. All she had to do was carry a baby for 9 months and then keep it, be a mother to it, raise it alongside her triplets. I need to think about this, she finally said. This is a lot. This is huge. I can't make this decision right now. Of course, Patrick said quickly. Take your time. Think about it. Talk to your children if you want. Here's my card. He slid a business card across the table. Call me when you have made a decision. No pressure. If you say no, I'll respect that and find someone else. But even as he said it, Patrick knew he didn't want someone else. He wanted her, this fierce, beautiful, complicated woman who loved her children with terrifying intensity. Veronica took the card, staring at it like it might explode. Patrick stood to leave, then paused. Just think about it. Really think about it. This could change your life and mine. And maybe that's not a bad thing. He left before she could respond, leaving Veronica sitting alone in the restaurant booth, staring at a business card and trying to process the most insane proposition she'd ever received. That night, Veronica couldn't sleep. She lay in bed, staring at the ceiling, the business card on her nightstand like it was mocking her. 10 million naira up front, 5 million more after the birth, a new apartment, school fees paid, help starting a real business. It was everything she'd been praying for, everything she needed, everything that would solve all her problems and give her children the life they deserved. All she had to do was have a baby for a stranger. Except he wasn't asking her to give up the baby. He was asking her to keep it, to raise it, to be a mother to it, which made this whole thing even more confusing. What kind of man paid someone to carry his child and then let them keep it? What kind of arrangement was that? The next morning, after the children had gone to school and she'd finished her morning shift at the school, Veronica sat in the janitor's closet during her break and stared at Patrick's business card. She should throw it away. This was insane. This was too good to be true. This had to be some kind of trick. But what if it wasn't? What if this was real? What if this was her way out of poverty, out of struggle, out of biting her nails every night, worrying about rent? Before she could talk herself out of it, she dialed the number. Patrick answered on the first ring. "Hello?" "It's Veronica," she said, her voice steadier than she felt. "From the fruit stand. The woman you made the proposal to." "Veronica," Patrick's voice went warm. "Hi, have you thought about it?" "I haven't thought about anything else," Veronica admitted. "It's all I can think about. But I have questions. A lot of questions." "Of course. Ask anything." "First, is this legal? Is what you're proposing even legal in Nigeria?" "Yes," Patrick said. "Surrogacy is legal. We'd have a proper contract drawn up by lawyers. Everything would be official and above board." "Second, you said the baby would stay with me. For how long? What happens when the child is older? Do you take them away?" Patrick was quiet for a moment. "Honestly, I haven't thought that far ahead. I just know I can't raise a newborn by myself. Maybe we figure it out as we go. Maybe by the time the child is older, we've worked out an arrangement that works for everyone." That was vague and unsatisfying, but also honest. "Third," Veronica continued, "and this is important, I need to talk to my children about this. They're part of this decision. If I'm going to have another baby, even if it's technically yours, it affects them. I need their input." "I understand completely," Patrick said. "Talk to them. Take your time. I'm not going anywhere." Except he was. Time was ticking. Cancer was waiting. Treatment needed to start. But Veronica didn't know that part yet. "I'll call you," she said, "after I talk to my soldiers." "Your soldiers?" "My children. That's what I call them. My little soldiers." Patrick smiled on his end of the phone. "I like that. Talk to your soldiers. Call me when you're ready." After they hung up, Veronica sat in the janitor's closet for a long time, gathering her courage. Tonight. She talked to them tonight, because this decision was too big to make alone. That evening, after dinner was finished and the dishes were washed, Veronica called her 3 children into the living room. They came eagerly, thinking maybe she was going to announce something fun, a movie night or pizza for dinner tomorrow, or that they were finally ungrounded. They didn't expect what came next. "Guys," Veronica began, her voice nervous, "I need to talk to you about something important. Very important. And I need you to listen carefully and think hard before you answer, okay?" 3 pairs of eyes stared at her with sudden worry. "Are we in more trouble?" Timothy asked nervously. "Because we've been really good since the hospital thing. We've done all our homework. We've cleaned our rooms. We haven't even fought that much." "You're not in trouble," Veronica assured him. This is about a decision I need to make. A big decision. And I can't make it without knowing how you feel about it." "Okay," Olivia said slowly. "What decision?" Veronica took a deep breath. "How would you feel about About me having another baby. Dead silence. Then, what? All three children shouted in unison, a baby? Caleb's eyes went wide. Are you pregnant? Timothy jumped up. Do you have a boyfriend we don't know about? Olivia demanded. Mom, when did this happen? Who is he? Have we met him? Is it someone from the church? Is it that man who sells plantains at the junction? He's always smiling at you. Oh my God, are you dating the plantain man? No, Veronica held up her hands. I'm not dating anyone. I'm not pregnant. There's no plantain man, just listen. The children sat back down, their eyes huge, waiting for an explanation that would make sense. Remember that man from the hospital? The one with the nice car? The one with the accident that wasn't an accident? Three guilty faces nodded. Well, he came to see me yesterday at my fruit stand, and he made me a proposal. What kind of proposal? Caleb asked suspiciously. He has cancer, Veronica said gently. The same kind your daddy had. And because of the treatment he needs, he might not be able to have children in the future. So he asked me to help him. Help him how? Olivia's sharp mind was already putting pieces together. He wants me to be his surrogate. That means he wants me to carry his baby, to be pregnant with his child. And then after the baby is born, you give him the baby? Timothy's voice was small. Like we'd have a baby brother or sister, and then you just give it away? That's what I thought too, Veronica said. But he said something strange. He said he wants the baby to stay with us, to live with us, to be part of our family. All three children looked confused. So he wants to pay you to have his baby and then let you keep it. Caleb tried to wrap his head around this. That doesn't make sense. I know it doesn't, but he said he can't take care of a baby by himself. He doesn't know how, and he wants his child to have a real family, a real home. So he's offering to pay me a lot of money, enough to solve all our money problems, enough to move to a better apartment, enough to start a real business, if I agree to carry his baby and raise it as part of our family. How much money? Olivia asked, ever practical. A lot, baby. More than I'd make in several years at both my jobs. The children exchanged glances, having a silent conversation with their eyes the way siblings do. But what about the baby? Timothy asked quietly. If we have a baby brother or sister, wouldn't it be sad that their real dad doesn't live with them? He said he'd visit. He'd be part of the child's life. He'd support us. But yes, he wouldn't live with us. The baby would grow up knowing him as their father, but living with us. More silence as three 7-year-old brains tried to process this incredibly complex situation. Finally, Olivia, always the first to speak, always the leader, said, So let me make sure I understand. This man wants to pay you to have his baby, but instead of taking the baby away, he wants us to keep it and raise it. And he'll give us enough money that you won't have to work 2 jobs anymore. And we can move to a better house. And we can have a real business. And he'll help with school fees and everything. Yes, Veronica confirmed. And all you have to do is be pregnant for 9 months. Yes. And then we get a baby sibling. Yes. Olivia looked at her brothers. Caleb shrugged. Timothy looked thoughtful. Can we eat pizza? Timothy asked. Timothy! Olivia smacked his arm. Is that all you think about? Well, she said we'd have money. Timothy defended himself. If we have money, we can buy pizza. Lots of pizza, maybe even every day. We're not going to eat pizza every day, you coconut head, Caleb said, but he was smiling. Then he turned to his mother. But Mom, what do you want? Do you want to do this? Veronica felt tears prick her eyes. Her baby, her thoughtful, caring baby, was asking about her feelings. I don't know, she admitted honestly. The money would change our lives. We could stop struggling. You could go to better schools. I could stop working myself to exhaustion. We could have a real home, Not just a place to sleep, but it's weird, Olivia finished for her. Yes, it's very weird. And it would be your baby, Olivia continued. Even if it's technically his baby, you'd be the one carrying it. You'd be the one giving birth to it. You'd be the one feeding it and changing its diapers and staying up all night when it cries. So it would be your baby too. Veronica nodded, surprised by her daughter's insight. So if you have a baby, Olivia said slowly, working through the logic, and we keep the baby, then we get a new brother or sister. And we like having siblings. We're siblings. Being siblings is great. Mostly great, Caleb amended. Sometimes Timothy is annoying. You're annoying, Timothy shot back. Boys. Olivia silenced them with a look. Focus. The point is, if mom is going to have a baby anyway, and we get to keep it, then that's good for us. We'd have another sibling. The baby would have us. We'd be a family. But what about the dad? Timothy asked. The man. Patrick, right? Would he be like our dad too? No, Veronica said quickly. He'd be the baby's father. But not yours. You already had a father, a wonderful father. This man is he's just someone who needs help and who's helping us in return. The children were quiet again, thinking. Then Caleb said something that surprised everyone. I think we should do it. What? Veronica blinked. I think we should help him. Look, Mom, we tried to scam him, right? We tried to take his money by tricking him. That was wrong. We know it was wrong. We got grounded for it. Very grounded, Timothy muttered. But this, Caleb continued, this is different. This is real. This is honest. He's offering to pay you for something real, for carrying his baby, for giving him a child. That's not a scam. That's a job. That's help. And he helped us too, right? He could have pressed charges for what we did. He could have gotten us in real trouble. But he didn't. He just left. He was nice about it, even though we were terrible. Olivia was nodding slowly. Caleb's right. We owe him. Not money. We can never pay him back the money we tried to get. But we can help him have a family. We can give him a baby. Well, you can give him a baby, Mom, but we can help raise it. We can be good siblings to the baby. And we can eat pizza, Timothy added hopefully. Timothy, I swear, Olivia started. Okay. But seriously, Mom, if this helps you, if this helps us, if this helps him, isn't that good? Isn't that what you always teach us? To help people when we can? Veronica felt tears streaming down her face now. Her children, her beautiful, ridiculous children. But Olivia held up a finger, her expression turning serious. We have one condition. What condition? Veronica asked, wiping her eyes. The baby has to stay with us. Forever, not just for a little while, forever. Caleb nodded firmly. We're not giving up our brother or sister. If you have a baby, Mom, that's our sibling. We're not letting some stranger take them away when they're older just because he paid for it. That's not how family works. Family is forever, Timothy added, unusually serious. You taught us that. So if this baby's going to be our family, then they stay with us. The man, Patrick, he can visit all he wants. He can be the dad, but the baby lives with us. Veronica stared at her 3 children, her heart swelling with love and pride and terror all at once. What if he says no? She asked. What if he doesn't agree to that? Then we don't do it, Olivia said firmly. Simple. The baby stays with us or we don't do it. That's our condition. That's non-negotiable. Veronica looked at each of her children, these fierce, loyal, brilliant babies of hers, and made her decision. Okay, she said. I'll call him. I'll tell him our condition, and if he agrees, then we'll do it. Pizza, Timothy shouted, pumping his fist in the air. We haven't even decided yet. Olivia smacked him again. But we're going to decide yes, so preemptive pizza celebration. Despite everything, despite the weight of the decision, despite the uncertainty, Despite the absolute insanity of what they were agreeing to, Veronica laughed, actually laughed, because this was her life. Chaotic, dramatic, ridiculous, and absolutely full of love. The next day, during her lunch break, Veronica called Patrick. "Hello?" He answered on the first ring again. "It's Veronica. I talked to my soldiers." And? Patrick's voice was tense with hope. "They have a condition. One condition. It's non-negotiable." "Okay," Patrick said slowly. "What's the condition?" "The baby stays with us. Not just for the first few years, forever. They live with us, grow up with us, are raised by us. You can visit whenever you want. You can be part of their life. You can be their father. But they don't move out to live with you when they're older. They stay with us. That's the deal." There was a long pause on the other end. Veronica held her breath. This was it. He was going to say no. He was going to... "Okay," Patrick said. "Okay, Veronica repeated, shocked. "Just okay, hey?" "Yes, okay, I agree to your terms. But why? Why would you pay all that money for a child that doesn't even live with you?" Patrick was quiet for a moment. When he spoke, his voice was soft. "Because I meant what I said. I want my child to have a real family, a real home. Your home, chaotic as it is, it's full of love. I can see that, I can feel that. And honestly," he laughed quietly, "I'd probably be a terrible single father. I don't know what I'm doing, but you do. You've raised 3 incredible children. So yes, the baby stays with you. We'll figure out the details. Visitation, how involved I am, all of that. But yes, I agree." Veronica felt relief and terror wash over her in equal measures. Then I guess we have a deal?" "We have a deal," Patrick confirmed. "I'll have my lawyers draw up a contract. Everything will be official and legal. But yes, we have a deal." After they hung up, Veronica sat in the janitor's closet and stared at her phone in disbelief. She'd just agreed to have a stranger's baby. A stranger she'd attacked in a hospital. A stranger whose shirt she'd grabbed and whose character she'd insulted. This was insane. This was absolutely, completely insane. And yet, it was also the answer to her prayers, the solution to her problems, the way out of poverty and struggle. Sometimes, Veronica thought, miracles come in the strangest packages. 2 weeks later, Veronica sat in a lawyer's office, so fancy it made her nervous to touch anything. Everything was mahogany and leather and expensive looking. Even the pens looked like they cost more than her monthly rent. Patrick sat across from her, looking professional in a suit but with kind eyes that helped calm her nerves. Between them sat a stack of legal documents that looked thick enough to be a novel. The lawyer, a stern-looking woman named Mrs. Adeyemi, walked them through every page, every clause, every detail. "This is a surrogacy agreement," Mrs. Adeyemi began. "It establishes that Mrs. Veronica Thompson agrees to carry a child for Mr. Patrick Okonkwo via artificial insemination. The child will be biologically Mr. Okonkwo's, but Mrs. Thompson will carry and give birth to the child." Veronica nodded, her hands sweating. "Upon birth, the child will remain in Mrs. Thompson's custody and care. Mr. Okonkwo will have full visitation rights and will be involved in the child's life as he sees fit. However, primary custody remains with Mrs. Thompson." "Permanently?" Veronica asked to confirm. "Permanently," Miss Adeyemi confirmed, "unless both parties agree to a change in the future." Now, regarding compensation, she outlined the payment structure. 10 million naira to be paid immediately upon signing the contract. 5 million naira to be paid upon the birth of a healthy child. All medical expenses covered. A new apartment secured in Mrs. Thompson's name. School fees for all 3 of her children paid for the next 3 years. And seed money to start a fruit distribution business. It was more than Veronica had ever dreamed of. "Both parties must understand," Mrs. Adeyemi said seriously. "This is a binding legal contract. Once signed, you're committed to seeing this through. Mrs. Thompson, that means carrying the pregnancy to term barring medical complications. Mr. Okonkwo, that means fulfilling all financial obligations. Do you both understand? Yes, they said in unison. And you both enter into this agreement willingly? No one is forcing or coercing either of you? Yes, again in unison. Then sign here, and here, and initial here. Veronica's hands shook as she picked up the expensive pen. This was it, the moment that would change her life forever. She signed her name. Patrick signed his. It was done. Mrs. Adeyemi witnessed and notarized the documents. Congratulations, you're now legally bound to create a family together. The way she said it made it sound almost romantic, which was absurd considering this was a business transaction. After the lawyer meeting, Patrick took Veronica to the bank and transferred the first 10 million naira into her account. Veronica watched the numbers appear on her phone screen and felt dizzy. 10 million naira in her account. Right now, real money that she could access. Are you okay? Patrick asked, noticing she'd gone pale. I've never had this much money in my life, Veronica whispered. Ever. The most I've ever had was maybe 50,000 naira saved up. This is unreal. It's real, Patrick said gently, and it's yours. Use it wisely. Pay your rent. Move to a better place. Start your business. Give your children a better life. Oh, Veronica looked at him, really looked at him, for the first time. Not as the man her children tried to scam, not as the stranger she'd attacked in a hospital, but as a person. He was handsome, she noticed absently, tall, well-built, kind eyes behind the professional exterior. And he was dying. Well, not dying exactly, the cancer was treatable, but he was sick, scared, alone, and he was trusting her, a woman he barely knew, a woman who'd attacked him to carry his child. Thank you, she said softly, for trusting me, for helping us. I know this is strange and complicated, but thank you. Thank you, Patrick replied, for giving me hope, for giving me a chance at fatherhood. You have no idea what this means to me. They stood there in the bank, two strangers bound together by the strangest contract either of them had ever signed, and somewhere in the awkwardness, something shifted. Not love, not yet, not even friendship really, but understanding, recognition, a sense that somehow, impossibly, this might actually work. The fertility clinic appointment was scheduled for the following week, timed perfectly with Veronica's ovulation cycle. The process would be clinical, professional, completely non-intimate, which didn't stop Veronica from being absolutely terrified. Patrick met her at the clinic, looking just as nervous as she felt. Have you done this before? Veronica asked as they sat in the waiting room. Artificial insemination? Number. First time. Me too. Well, obviously, I've only ever gotten pregnant the traditional way. She blushed at her own words. Patrick smiled. It'll be fine. The doctor said it's a simple procedure, quick, painless. Easy for you to say. You're not the one getting, Fair point. They sat in awkward silence until a nurse called Veronica's name. Do you want me to come in? Patrick asked. Or would that be weird? That would be so weird, Veronica said quickly. You stay here. I'll let you know when it's done. The procedure was indeed quick and clinical. The doctor was professional and efficient. Veronica tried not to think too hard about what was happening, about the fact that a stranger's genetic material was being introduced into her body, that she might be pregnant right now with a baby that wasn't her late husband's. 20 minutes later, she emerged from the procedure room to find Patrick pacing the waiting room like an expectant father, which she supposed he technically was about to be. How did it go? He asked anxiously. Fine. Quick, weird, but fine. And now we wait? Now we wait. 2 weeks until we can take a pregnancy test. 2 weeks, 14 days, 336 hours. It felt like an eternity. Patrick was a nervous wreck for those 2 weeks. He called Veronica every day. How are you feeling? Fine, Patrick. Same as yesterday. Any symptoms? Any signs? It's been 3 days. There are no symptoms yet. Right, of course. Sorry, I'm anxious. I can tell. By day 7, Veronica had to set boundaries. Patrick, I appreciate your concern, but you can't call me 5 times a day. I promise I'll let you know if anything changes, but you need to relax. I can't relax. This is my one chance. If this doesn't work, I'll have to start treatment, and then it will work, Veronica said firmly, with more confidence than she felt. We'll give it 2 weeks. If I'm not pregnant, we'll try again before you start treatment. The doctor said you have time for 1 or 2 more attempts if needed, but they wouldn't need another attempt. On day 14, Veronica woke up feeling nauseous, not badly, just a gentle queasiness that felt familiar. Very familiar. She'd felt this exact same feeling 7 years ago when she was pregnant with the triplets. Her hands shaking, she took the pregnancy test she'd bought the day before. 2 lines, clear, unmistakable, 2 pink lines. Pregnant. She was pregnant. With Patrick Okonkwo's baby. Her phone rang. Of course it was Patrick. So, he asked without preamble, did you take the test? I took the test. And Veronica looked at the 2 pink lines, at the concrete proof of the insane decision she'd made at the beginning of the strangest journey of her life. Congratulations, Patrick, and she said softly, you're going to be a father. The sound that came through the phone was somewhere between a laugh and a sob. Really? You're sure the test is positive? 2 very clear lines. I'm pregnant. Oh my God, thank you so much. I don't even have words. Thank you. Veronica heard him crying on the other end and felt her own eyes sting with tears. You're welcome, she said. Now go eat and cry. I'll call you later. She hung up and sat on the bathroom floor, staring at the pregnancy test, trying to process what she'd done. She was going to have a baby that would be biologically half hers, half Patrick's, a baby that would grow up with her triplets as siblings, a baby that would call Patrick father, but call her mother. It was strange. It was complicated. It was nothing like how she'd imagined her life would go, but it was also somehow right. Patrick showed up at Veronica's door 2 hours after her phone call, completely unannounced, looking like he'd just run a marathon. I'm sorry, he said breathlessly when she opened the door. I know I should have called first. I know this is your space, but I had to see you. Is it really real? Veronica couldn't help but smile at his boyish excitement. It's real. Come in, but quietly, the kids are still asleep. Patrick entered the small apartment, looking around at the lived-in space. Children's drawings on the refrigerator, backpacks by the door, shoes in a messy pile, life. Real life, not the sterile perfection of his penthouse. Can I see it? He asked. The test? Veronica retrieved it from the bathroom and handed it to him. Patrick stared at the 2 pink lines like they were the most precious thing in the world. His hands were shaking. His eyes were wet. I'm going to be a dad, he whispered. An actual dad. Yes, you are. Because of you. You did this. You gave me this gift. Before Veronica could respond, before she could step back, before she could think, Patrick pulled her into a hug. Not a professional hug, not a polite hug, a real hug, a grateful, emotional, overwhelming hug. And Veronica, who hadn't been hugged like this since her husband died, who hadn't felt a man's arms around her in years, who had been so strong for so long, felt something break open inside her chest. She hugged him back. They stood there in her tiny living room, 2 people who barely knew each other, bound together by the tiny cluster of cells growing inside her body, and something shifted. Patrick pulled back slightly to look at her. Thank you, he said again. Thank you so much. And then, before either of them really thought about it, Before either of them could stop it, he kissed her. It wasn't a long kiss. It wasn't passionate. It was quick, almost chaste. A kiss of gratitude and joy and overwhelming emotion. But it was a kiss. Their first kiss. They both froze when they realized what had just happened. "Oh, God!" Patrick stumbled backward, his face going red. "I'm so sorry. I didn't mean that was inappropriate. I crossed a line." "It's okay," Veronica said, her voice coming out smaller than intended. Her lips were tingling. Her heart was racing. "It's not okay. You're my surrogate. This is a business arrangement. I just sexually harassed you." "You didn't sexually harass me," Veronica said firmly. "You kissed me. There's a difference. It was a moment, an emotional moment. And it's fine, but it wasn't fine." They both knew it wasn't fine because that kiss, brief as it was, had changed something, made this whole arrangement suddenly feel less like a business transaction and more like something else, something they couldn't quite name. "I should go," Patrick said, backing toward the door. "I'm sorry. I'll give you space. I'll see you at the first doctor's appointment next week." "Yes, next week. The appointment." "Right, okay, I'm going to go now, before I make this more awkward." "Too late," Veronica said, then immediately regretted it when she saw his face fall. "I'm kidding. It's fine. Go. I'll see you next week." Patrick fled like the apartment was on fire. After he left, Veronica touched her lips, still feeling the ghost of that kiss. "What have I gotten myself into?" she whispered to her empty living room. From their bedroom, three voices whispered to each other. "Did you see that? He kissed her. Does this mean he's our dad now?" "Shut up, Timothy. You shut up." Veronica closed her eyes and wondered if she'd made a terrible mistake.